We are restreaming for you a previous service with the sermon titled Drawing the Circle. The charity of the month is Habitat for Humanity. Please remember that you can go through your Realm app to make a gift to ensure that the mission of Habitat for Humanity can continue to be realized through our collective generosity. Our chalice has been lit. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be at peace.
Good morning. I invite you to turn to one another and greet each person's worth and dignity in this hour. I invite Christine to come forward from our Loving Hearts Care team, and I'll hold the microphone near you.
Good morning. When you see a rose, you know that someone has passed. This is our friend Carla Marr. Carla was a very good friend to many of us. She was a wonderful hiker. Matter of fact, I think she took you hiking when you first came. She was a botanist. Fortunately, she died in her sleep on Friday night, so it was very good. And I want to thank all the caregivers, the silent ones who've taken care of her for so many years. Thank you.
I have a few announcements, and I know somebody's going to tell me I forgot a really good one. If you tell me in the service right now, then I'll say it, but otherwise it will have to go unannounced. Let's see, the Unitarian Universalists of Transylvania County Campus Vision Review and Update will be this coming Saturday, September 27th at 3 p.m. in the UUTC Sanctuary right here with refreshments following. It's presented by the UUTC Property Committee. And this is, as I announced a couple weeks ago, a chance for people to catch up and have a way to engage in the vision of what we are hoping to do with the expansion into our property. For those of you who have ever been to a Wonderful Wednesday, you know we don't quite have enough room. For any of you who have come for a support group, you know we're putting you in a back room in the other house over here. For any of you who have wondered, in what way could we offer ourselves to the community with better facilities for them to come to? Yes, we have NAACP meetings here. We have meditation groups. We have the Rainbow Alliance. We have others. But in what ways could we be of better service if our vision for our campus matched better what we wanted to do to serve? So come on September 27th, 3 p.m. I'm sorry, I will not be there. I am singing with the Gay Men's Chorus at Blue Ridge Pride that day up in Asheville, so I can't be here for this. They know that. They think they can do visioning just fine without me, and I completely agree. But I do the announcements, so there you go. For those of you who are of Jewish background or any Unitarian Universalist interested in paying attention to the calendar, we're coming up on the Jewish High Holy Days. It's on a lunar calendar, so it's never exactly the same time in the fall. But the Jewish High Holy Days are beginning Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, in the evening of the 22nd through Wednesday, the September 24th. So we're right here upon it. This is not the only world religion observance that's coming up at this time. We also have Mabon, the autumn equinox in the pagan and Wiccan tradition, also September 22nd. It's really good as Unitarian Universalists to be able to recognize, wow, there are so many ways of moving and celebrating in the world and enjoying this great, wonderful connection to people of all varied ways of reaching into their deepest values, their highest religious hopes. And so that's why we announce them as they come up. I will also say that today, right now, today, in a couple hours, people all over the world will participate in a collective minute of silence and prayer at noon. The International Day of Peace, or Peace Day, provides an opportunity for individuals, organizations, and nations to create practical acts of peace on a shared date. It was established by the United Nations in 1981 to coincide with the opening of the General Assembly. The first Peace Day was celebrated in September 1982, and in 2002, the General Assembly officially declared September 21st as the permanent date for the International Day of Peace. So I hope you'll take a moment. I will be in the board retreat. I'm leading the board retreat this afternoon, and we will take a break right at noontime for a moment of silence for that. Also want to mention I'm wearing my Bi button today. This week is for Bisexual Visibility, officially Tuesday, Bi Visibility Day. As a welcoming congregation, we recognize and celebrate all the major observances in the LGBTQ family. So welcome to anyone of any LGBTQ, straight, asexual, anything. Whatever way you describe yourself or not quite sure how to describe yourself, label or not, welcome here. The Let's Talk event, I think it's in this neighborhood over on Rice Street, is this afternoon at 3 p.m. Last week I made a bigger deal about that, of chance for people to get together. This is the fourth and final one in this community that has been advertised on a poster in our building for people who want to talk about, I don't know, the stress of what's going on. And so if you want to see the poster, it's on the bulletin board during coffee hour. You're welcome to go look. Those were the major announcements that I shared. I'm not going to mention that last time I looked, the $20 bill was still there for the mountain sign-up sheet. And somebody left a note for me saying, "Too funny, Reverend Bob," but they didn't take the $20. All right. At this point, we have the wonderful opportunity with our choir leading us and all of us participating in this moment of singing ourselves into the wonder and beauty of worship.
Hello. Yeah. When the choir sings, it's going to be done in Nobis Pacem. There's going to be wonder and beauty, and it's going to be up to you to make your own wonder and beauty. After we sing it through once, then you will sing it through with us, hoping to provide wonder and beauty among us all. The choir will come out and lead you. don't sing. Wow. No.
That was beautiful. Let's wait for our rowdy choir to calm down, and then we're going to have the chalice lighting. Please join me as we read the words on the screen, our chalice lighting this morning by the Reverend Raleigh Weaver. As we light this chalice, we remember that belonging is not a place, but a promise to see one another as worthy, to offer space for each soul to be its full self. In the words of William Ellery Channing, the great end of life is not happiness, but to feel worthy of happiness. May this flame remind us that belonging comes out of our feelings of being worthy and seeing the worth in each person, worth in each moment we share, and worth in the community we build together. As the light grows, may we nurture a space where all are seen, heard, and valued, and may we continue the work of building a beloved and inclusive community.
Would you like this one?
I think I'll try this.
All right. We have several notes that have been left here and given to me during the week. I'll read from each of them. A candle of sorrow from Kristen. My friend Carla Marr passed away peacefully yesterday morning. And another note to go to Carla Marr's loving caregivers. And we'd had a note turned in from Jean Rowe for Carla Marr's birthday, which would have been tomorrow. She would have been 83 tomorrow. Let's light a candle for Linda Lander, who was in the hospital after a fall last weekend. She broke her shoulder. And David Alf asks us to light a candle for our First Amendment, which is under assault from the highest levels of government. Remember, the First Amendment includes freedom of religion. Let's light a candle for the freedom of religion and all of the First Amendment. And let's light a candle for all those things not yet shared. Maybe something in your heart, right here. Maybe something held by those who are online who didn't send me a note, but you know what you're holding in your hearts and your prayers and your meditations. All of these lights we lift up in prayer for their joys and their sorrows, O Spirit of love and life. We pray for the glow of each one. Amen. Blessed be.
Our opening words, sorry, they just left me. Our opening words are by the Reverend Michelle Collins. Come in from the margins. Come into our circle. Here we stretch a wide doorway of belonging. No need to polish your edges or hush your truth. We gather not in sameness, but in shared seeking. Take a breath. Set down what you carry. You are welcome. Wholly and wildly in this place. Come, let us worship together. Our opening hymn is a good one. Number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Now, I'm going to do something with my hands. I'm going to do something with my hands. Try this. Did this give you warmth? Is this something you appreciated? Prayer hands rubbing together. Now, I've had several long-time people here tell me, this congregation voted we wouldn't clap. Yeah, it was a vote. It was a decision. But there's nothing against this. They never voted back then, nor are they voting now, to prohibit prayer hands rubbing together. Thank you. And thank you, Michael. I mean, to have a jazz pianist do our opening hymn is, no. Rubbing them. For those members who have come to me individually, go talk to those clappers. The minister does not seem to be in charge. I invite Kevin forward.
Hey, good morning. This is our message for today's Words of Wisdom, and the story is called The Monk and the Scorpion, and it's from the Soul Matters curriculum for September. Well, once upon a time, there were two monks who were washing their feet down by the river, and both monks saw that a scorpion had fallen into the river and was floundering in the water, not able to swim. Well, the elder monk knew that the scorpion would not be able to get out on its own, so he went over and he gently and slowly tried to pick up the scorpion and move it on to shore, but it stung him, so he dropped it back into the water. And again, he went to pick it up and move it, and it stung him again, so he dropped it into the water. And it happened a third time until finally the older monk asked the younger monk, "Go to the tree over here and get a branch and pick up that branch and try and scoop the scorpion out." And so the younger monk did it and put the scorpion on shore. And then he said, "Why did you keep trying to save this scorpion after it stung you again and again? It's an ungrateful creature." Well, the older monk thought for a minute and said, "Well, if I go into the river, the nature of the river is wet. I get wet in there, and that's just the nature of it. If I go and sit under the tree over there, that tree gives shade, for that's its nature, and it gives shade for everyone and everything underneath it. And it never asks whether you're good or bad, whether you're old or young, whether you're human or an animal. It gives shade to all. And our nature is to give compassion, and to give compassion to everyone, everything, everywhere, because that's what we give. Another way of thinking about compassion is just straight kindness, to give what's in your heart to everybody. And we're living in a time where it is tough to give compassion, to give kindness to everybody. And you might think of somebody, maybe a coworker or a neighbor or a relative, who you need to open a little space in your heart for them. Or you might think of nobody in particular, but maybe the way people act in our community, and we need to give kindness to them. So let's remember that in all we do. And how about let's do this? If y'all go with me for a minute, and we're going to close our eyes in a second, and we're going to think about whoever maybe needs love and compassion in this world. And then we're going to breathe in and breathe out and blow it all out and send them some compassion. So let's close our eyes. Think of who needs compassion even when they're difficult and hard to be with. Breathe in and blow it out. Thank you. And Cadence will now come up with our children's chalice. We'll light our chalice and then sing the kids out to their class.
I don't know. I've asked this so many times, it gets really hard. I'm going to have to repeat one of the things I said for getting you to give. So here's a story of different pieces of currency, and they meet up at the bank. And the $20 bill says, wow, you know, I come out of this machine at the bank here, and then I go out and I'm at the bookstore, I'm at the restaurant, I'm all over the place, and then I come back here again. Looks at the $1 bill. Says, where do you go? $1 bill says, church. Now, all gifts are worthy. Maybe your $20 bills need a little spirituality. When they get back to the bank, when I walk it up to the bank for the deposit, these $20 bills can say, I got religion. And maybe you're putting it into the baskets for our regular collection for the good of this congregation, or maybe you're putting it into the envelope for this month's selected charity, Meals on Wheels. Whatever you do, whatever amount you put in there, we appreciate it. And we appreciate you exercising your generosity. Thank you. Yeah, okay, a bunch of $1 bills. They can all congratulate each other. There you go. Thank you, Dick. Thank you, Susan. What's given in love, we receive with great joy. Thank you. I invite you into a moment of prayer and meditation. Whatever names you might use to recognize a moment that is holy, whatever ways you stretch yourself outward, recognizing those around you or the depth within you, this is the time. O Spirit of love and life, we who are gathered here today come during a time in which we understand ourselves to be time and again excluded. Those who would draw circles to keep us out. Those who would belittle us. Spirit of love and life, may we not become scorpions in the midst of moments of kindness, but recognize the compassion of others around us as a true gift to remind us of our better nature. May we, when we open our mouths, not let it overcome the hearing of our ears as we listen into being the people around us. Whether they are saying vile things or lovely poetry, let us remember that our role in life is in part to be compassionate, to be inclusive. May we be up to our own ideals of recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every person. May we indeed walk in our life with knowing we are here to help others towards spiritual encouragement. May we, in all the ways we have our own imperfections, look for in others something to lift up as a gem. And if we have failed, may we come back to ourselves with compassion, knowing that we are, in fact, just human. And may we commit ourselves once again that we might have our own deep healing and reconnect with those who would appreciate us encircling them in our love. For in this way, perhaps, O Spirit of love and life, we might indeed grow into the examples that we would wish for ourselves, our children, and this world. Let us hold these in the prayers of our hearts and our minds in the silence. in the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say, Amen. Blessed be.
There we go. I found the button. Before I say a few words about the anthem that we're going to sing, I want to call your attention to the choir. A few more Sundays like this, and the choir is going to move out here, and we'll ask the congregation to sit over here. There are 7 tenors, please, 7 tenors. Nobody's choir has 7 tenors. Nobody's but us. If you look at the Presbyterians, the Lutherans, everybody, they don't have that many tenors. 6 basses, 6 sopranos, and 6 altos. Or is it 7 altos? 6 altos. We are going to need some more chairs over here before long. As you can see, Reverend Bob has to stand over there. There is a stool if he wanted to sit on it, but it's not proper. The song that we're going to sing this morning, as we try to overcome the jazzness of the offertory, is one by none other than John Rutter. And we're going to hope that our pianist can, at that point, play the notes on the page. I'm sure he can. I'm sure he can. The name of this anthem is Distant Land, and John Rutter wrote both the words and the music. It starts off with, I see a distant land, then I hear a distant song. We all come together and work for that distant land of freedom, freedom, freedom.
The reading I have is out of our hymn book, and so it's been around for a long time. The hymn book dates back to about the time that this piece that was just sung had come out, and some of the people were hoping for the same things that the composer of that song was hoping for. This is a very prayerful one in which it's asking us to recognize we need one another. It's by George Odell. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumph. We need one another in the hour of defeat when, with encouragement, we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. The sermon that I have this morning is called Drawing Circles. It's a piece of the Belonging series that we were covering this month in our Soul Matters themes in our packet discussions on Fridays. And it's based a lot on the short poem called Outwitted by Edwin Markham, who lived from 1852 to 1940. He was actually born Charles Edward Anson Markham, went by Charles, I'm told, in the beginning of his life, and then changed to Edwin later. My colleague, James Ishmael Ford, who's Minister Emeritus of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, in his Monkey Mind blog on pathos.com, wrote about Markham back in 2015, so 10 years ago. He said, while I find a few references that state outright that Markham was a Universalist, or even a lifelong Universalist, I notice most draw a somewhat finer line, saying he was a frequent attender at the Universalist worship services, and he was buried from the Universalist church in Brooklyn. Now, that's an interesting phrase. How can you be buried from a church? The only thing I can think of is his funeral was at the Universalist church, and then his body was brought to the cemetery. So thank you to my colleague, James Ishmael Ford. And here's the poem. And you probably have known it and heard it and seen it all over the internet. He drew a circle that shut me out, heretic, a rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. Short, succinct, apropos to both his time and ours. Now, who was Edwin Markham? Anybody read his poems? His most famous, apparently, is Man with a Hoe. I don't know if I ever studied that one. He was considered such a strong American poet that he was chosen out of hundreds to speak at the dedication of the Lincoln Monument with his poem about Lincoln. It's considered one of the finest poems ever for Lincoln. But this is the thing that goes around the internet that people find in moments in which we need to hear it. Because there are so many times we are finding barriers, decisions to say us and them, and a differentiation. I'm going to put this down for a moment because I want to pick up the music that John chose for this Sunday, the Distant Land, John Rutter song. Inside it says, Distant Land was written in 1990, soon after the demolition of the Berlin Wall and the release of Nelson Mandela from prison. It premiered in Carnegie Hall, New York, the following year. That's what we just sang. Swords into plowshares, can it all come true? Friends out of strangers, start with me and you. I see another time, another place where we can all be one human race. The walls will melt away, we'll come together on the day of freedom. As I said, apropos choice, thank you, John. Thank you, choir. I don't think it's easy to draw circles that include scorpions. As much as PETA might say we have to love everything on this earth, and until we do, we cannot, in fact, live up to the phrase of loving one another. Most people would make exceptions for scorpions. Somehow we draw a circle that keeps them out. We stay away from them. In general, we do not try 3 times in a row to take a scorpion out of the water to keep it from drowning. We do not live up to whatever it is we've been taught about kindness and a protection of the entire interdependent web of all of existence of which we are a part. We make exceptions. We might make exceptions for mosquitoes too in our circle. They're not what we want. I remember a childhood story, the day they parachuted cats on Borneo. Ever heard of that story? Yeah, I have a nod over here and I have a whole lot of no's. I had some children in a religious education program reenact that. It's about back in the time when we thought we could eradicate malaria by eradicating all mosquitoes. I think it was malaria. I don't know, may have been other things too, but we could get rid of every mosquito. And as a child, I remember the fogging trucks coming through my neighborhood. Yeah. You'd be outside playing, and suddenly the truck would slowly be entering the neighborhood. And we'd all scream and run indoors and shut all the windows, and hopefully in time before we get the first whiff of the DDT that was being spread over everything. Well, Borneo, they used a lot of DDT, and they killed off all the mosquitoes, which then ended up being ingested by the birds, which meant that their eggs wouldn't hatch, which meant all the birds were dying, which meant, well, anyway, it was a catastrophe environmentally. By drawing the circle in such that we drew out the mosquitoes, we suddenly found that they were essential. What did our reading say? We need everyone? Well, we even need the mosquitoes. So what were they going to do? They were overrun with rats. There was a complete ecosystem mess up, imbalance. And so they, in fact, parachuted cats onto Borneo to take care of the rats, and they stopped spraying the DDT, and of course the mosquitoes came back. And little by little, the environment corrected itself as best as it could. I'm hearing somebody say, except for... Yeah, I mean, we can put people on the moon. We can definitely parachute cats on Borneo. Because that's about the era that all of this was happening, a race to the moon and parachuting cats. And was it Monsanto's phrase, corporate phrase, better living through chemicals? We have a great deal of hubris in deciding how we want to draw our circles. This is a problem for us, therefore it's a problem for the world, and we will draw them out. We know who we are, we knew who they are, and we don't want them. Now, we see a lot of this in politics too. There are election campaigns in which people say, I have the right idea, and they don't. I know who to draw into my circle, and you're in my circle, so let's draw out those other people. If we can put cats on Borneo, we can fly people to a completely different place in the world. We can just drop them there. Maybe not literally, but essentially. And yet, Kevin's story tells about this monk that keeps getting stung trying to get the scorpion out of the water. Now, in the circle of life, maybe there was a reason why a scorpion needed to feed a fish or a turtle or something. I don't know if turtles and fish are dumb enough to try to bite a scorpion, but who knows? But in any case, it was a being struggling in the water. Time and again, trying to lift that being out of its predicament. We have managed through time to build walls, literal walls. This is my side of Berlin, that's your side of Berlin. We have drawn circles around communities. This is Lesotho, and this is not in South Africa. Or where I went to graduate school. This is the University of Chicago campus. This is the Midway demilitarized zone that continues from it to separate it from the rest of the south side of Chicago. Buy up buildings, tear them down. Moats, they called them back in the days of knights and nobles. Moats. We are challenged again and again to recognize that we are interdependent. We need one another to survive. There are folks who manage in life with only one eye. Isn't Pirates Day coming up? Arr! But not to joke about it, there are folks with only one eye, and their sense of depth perception is a challenge. Or maybe you have temporarily, pink eye or some other way, needed to cover up an eye and realized, I can't use my fork, or I can't get done what I need to do. I'm so dependent on having slightly different perspectives in order to go about my life. We just talked in a circle right here with our book discussion group, with Twist's book on commitment, about the idea, what's the difference of taking a stand or taking a position. Taking a stand is something visionary. I believe in this. I am committed to this as a future. Taking a position is saying, I'm right here, and this is the right viewpoint in the world, and I will argue with any other viewpoint. Well, that doesn't work when we understand we need depth perception. That doesn't work when we need to understand the scientists in our world who say if you wipe out the mosquitoes with your chemicals, it will start a cascade of events that will be hard on you. Well, no, we'll get rid of the mosquitoes. That's not hard on us. Yes, it is. Everything is a part of the whole. Now, I know. We have put in a lot of effort to have native plants here, to take away the plants that may have been imported because the big box stores want to sell them and they don't really belong here. or any of you who have been on any property whatsoever that for any amount of time has had bamboo on it, or kudzu, or anything else that started as an import. We know that there are certain understandings of life in which we can find balance, and maybe it's not right to put the septic tank over the well. And over time, we have learned there are reasons for separation. But that's different from drawing people or things out of our circle. It's just nice to hear Markham's words from a century ago. He drew a circle that shut me out, heretic, a rebel, a thing to flout, but love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. And I believe, after each of the wars that we have fought, the best recoveries have come when somebody has recited something along these lines and said, we need a Marshall Plan. We need a treaty. We need something in which we reach out to one another. And we accept one another. And we put aside our warring ways, or as the choir piece said, we turn our swords into plowshares and get back to living and sustaining. Belonging. We belong to everything, and everything belongs in our circle. Let us be careful with the scorpions. But remember, they're part of the ecosystem, whether human scorpions or insect ones. Let us be careful with one another's hearts. For if we were to leave out a person, we would lose their perspective and maybe not see the depth of what we need to see of the life in which we navigate. Thank you. Now, who knew that we had a hymn in our hymn book, number 323, that actually had the word circle in it? Break not the circle. The choir practiced it this morning because it's not one that you usually sing. But it's a really neat song. It has great words and it has a tune that you might not know, but it's not so bad, really. And the words will be up here and we'll all sing it together. Please join it. May you go out into this world and see, instead of division, ways of widening a circle. May you go out into this world, instead of thinking of yourself as unworthy or not fitting in, realizing you have a different perspective, and the others will stumble on their paths without the depth perception you would give. May we have the freedom to speak up. May we have the freedom to worship as we would, and to bring our best selves and values out into this world without fear, knowing that we are all one, and indeed, we are needed in this world. Blessings on all of you.